Can't help but to smile when talking about John Madden. Jim Nance joins us right now. Jim, good morning. How are you doing?
Yeah, good morning, Nate. Obviously, all of us that knew Coach Madden are feeling very blue at this point. Just a couple of days ago, I know you're aware of it, there was a documentary on his life that was amazing. It was as if you were watching eulogy, and to think just 2.5 days later, he was gone unexpectedly. It's hard to get your mind around that.
The NFL called Madden legendary. Commissioner Roger Goodell said he was football. How will you remember John Madden?
I think that's a pretty good place to start. You know, he had a very close tie with Roger, and the commissioner sought his counsel on a lot of issues that were going around the league far after he left the broadcast booth up until this year. And, you know, I was watching with the children a Christmas movie called The Boy Who Was Christmas. And I was thinking overnight that John was the man who was football. At so many different levels, as a player who got drafted, by the way, by the Philadelphia Eagles, as a legendary coach, which is how he wanted to go into the Hall of Fame as a coach, as a broadcaster, as celebrated as any sports analyst has ever been or ever will be. The video game, which will live on for generations to come, which popularized the sport for millions of people. I mean, he touched a lot of lives.
You know, I think what everybody will remember about him, he's so authentic, and he brought so much joy and enthusiasm to the game, whether it was coaching or broadcasting. Younger people knew him from video games. What do you think his real legacy will be? I love that he said that his dad said, once you start working, you're going to have to work the rest of your life. And he said, I never worked a day in my life. And he felt that way about all of these different professions that he went through. What do you think his legacy will be?
Well, everything he touched was gold, and that's why he's wearing a gold jacket in Canton, Ohio. But, you know, the young players today think that Madden is a video game, and then they don't realize that he was this enormous talent in broadcasting for 30 years, starting at CBS and working half of his career at our network. And still so many friends, from producers and technicians to broadcasters, still remain at CBS who were influenced by John. And then you go back to that coaching career. I mean, there's a lot of different things that he did, and he accomplished them all at a very high level. But his legacy, I think, more than anything, is he was a man of the people. He could relate to everyone. And he had time for people. As he traversed this country on the Madden cruiser, because, you know, he wouldn't fly, he loved stopping in America and getting to know people and spending time with them, stopping at a diner and, you know, just name it, all 50 states. He toured this country on a basis and had time for people. People loved him.
Jim, it's Vlad. Let's talk about his legacy as a coach. It's one of the things that you pointed out that he wanted to go into the Hall of Fame for. This Oakland team that he coached in the 1970s was a powerhouse. And that's saying a lot when you're talking about teams from Pittsburgh and Dallas that people remember from that era. What made him such an incredible coach?
Well, good for you, Vlad. You mentioned a couple things I was going to point out. I mean, he was coaching at a time when Chuck Noll was winning Super Bowls for Pittsburgh. Tom Landry was at Dallas. Don Shula was in Miami. His career started. Hank Stram was in his division at Kansas City. He got the head coaching job when he was 32. He retired when he was 42. He won 103 games in 10 years. That's an incredible record. Well, still has the all-time winning percentage, best winning percentage for any coach that won 100 games. So it was short as far as a career. It was highly successful, and I'm sure it was successful because of the things that we saw later on as a broadcaster. He knew about nuance, and he knew about people. He loved X's and O's and teaching, and he loved being able to try to teach people and make them better.
Yeah, as we've been saying, he changed the game.
Sure did.
And especially made it accessible to people all around the world through the video game. Jim Nance, always great to talk to you, my friend. Thank you for sharing your thoughts on the legacy of John Madden. We appreciate it.
Thank you for allowing me the chance to talk about one of the great people that anyone who ever met him would all agree, one of the great people ever met in their lives.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jim.